mean, would smoke dissipate like that in between, you think, guys?
I don't know.
What do you think, Grant?
Nah,
Do you think that or something?
I'm not going to say that's definite spirit activity, but
yeah.
I think it is. Yeah. I'm not saying it's aliens, but
That's cool.
It
no matter
is
what.
cool.
All right, let's do it. About the history, get him up on the camera so we can know a little bit more about this.
You know, they theorized that it was 2,000. It's 2,000 years old, time of Christ. And think about that, 2,000 years old. How old is that? You know, if you think about our modern lifetimes, then you know that would be 25 to 30. But back then, if they only lived till they were 30 or 40 years old, or however however long they lived, that would be 40 lifetimes, 50 lifetimes from now. But this, you know, how old this, and this mound itself has never been excavated, and they don't even know what's in the mound. They don't know if it's a burial or if it's just, you know, if it represents some kind of solar or lunar activity. It is lined up, just like how the Serpent Mound is to certain, you know, to the equinoxes and the solstices. So.
Yeah, you can really see the outline now.
Yeah,
you know, more than what
two
it
of
is
them.
over
You
there.
can see the smaller mound too, off to the left. And but
Yeah,
I think, you know, these beech trees that are here, Bill, who's the caretaker, he said that one of the biggest beech tree fell this year, and they counted the rings on it, and it was over 300 years old. So these beech trees are right around 300 years old.
So we're talking 1600s, late 1600s?
Yeah, and this has never been farmed, it's never been plowed. So that mound, which is different from a lot of mounds, and even Serpent Mound has been plowed. It was used, you know, crops.
So they're not recognized by the Ohio Historical Society or anything like that?
This was privately owned.
Okay, so they haven't even allowed these people come, which is
right,
awesome.
Right, and what
We're
it is,
here,
is
right?
back in 2005,
Yeah,
a realtor bought it, or a developer. He was going to level the mound, build a house.
Lord.
But this Archaeological Conservancy, I think that is the name they go under, bought it, and Bill Bear bought the house across the street, and he said that he would put his own time and effort and money into restoring the mound. So about 4 years ago, you wouldn't even see this mound when you drive by. You wouldn't even see it. You drive by, it was just all grown up. So, you know, in the last 4 or 5 years, and all the work, Bill put about $30,000 to $40,000 into this. And
Now, what type of improvements did he do? Did he add
there
more
was no
dirt to the mound?
They had strict regulations. You know, the society. They said they didn't want no backhoes or any, and they didn't want to go any deeper than
disrupt like nature and shit.
Exactly.
Okay.
And also, they didn't want to go any deeper than 3 inches, so they just kind of skimmed the tops. You know, got the brush off, and that's still, you know, that I think if you go 4 to 6 inches is when you start getting into that realm of 2,000 years ago. So it was undisturbed. You know, it was just as undisturbed as it could be. So they rate this as one of the most preserved. I think the most, but it's rated up to the top of preserved mounds in Ohio.
So we're talking Hopewell, Adena.
Hopewell, Adena. Yeah. They said at least 2,000. It could be older than that. So if it was older than that, then it would be Adena. And the Adena, traditionally, they built a wall around.
Yeah, they're definitely
their enclosures,
their
like
enclosures,
an enclosure, and around a burial. Which this could be a burial, or it could be ceremonial. Bill told me today that they didn't find any arrowheads or any kind of artifacts while they were. I'm thinking, man, they just didn't look hard.
They didn't have us out. They
didn't look hard.
Give us a weekend out here.
Yeah,
well,
but
sure, we'll find something out for
they,
you.
they live off towards the east there, because the river goes like this and it cuts back. And they had an encampment back there. Yeah, they had an encampment, but it was about a half-mile away.
They got transportation. Yeah, they got protection.
Yeah. Back then, the river levels were up higher. You got to think about that.
Food.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's abundant out here.
Deer was one of the main diets.
All right, well, take us on that. Where do you think we got to go? I don't know.
I haven't really been that direction. This over here is this away.
They do a live movie suspension up here, so you can get that.
You're going to get hurt if you roll down that hill, people.
Yeah, so make sure we're okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start this digital voice recorder, and I'm going to put it in front of you guys. You guys will see the red light, and I want you to ask one question. It doesn't matter if you think it's stupid, if it's silly, if you repeat the question. It does not matter. We'll give each other 10 seconds in between, and then we'll go on and go on and go on. So every time I put it in front of you, ask the question. And then we'll play it back, and we'll see if we can get something. Now remember, we're on Native American ground. This has not been excavated. We're talking the times of 2,000 years beforehand. Don't sound silly if you want to say something like you think you're speaking Native American. Don't feel silly if anything comes to your time of that question. Just speak it out. And we'll start it out, and we'll go in circle. And just say your name. Say, I'm Shane Watkins. Is there anyone here with me that would like to pass a message? So what I'll do is when I go back through the evidence review, I know your frequency of your voice, and if we do get a live EVP, and I'll put this on Facebook, we know if an EVP happens and it's not in the frequency that our voice can produce, we know that that was a disembodied voice. And people usually say, well, why is it when you get a recording, you can hear it back only on a digital voice recorder? Well, it's because it has a liquid crystal display, and there's crystals that are in the dynamic microphone, which is magnetically uses for anything to pick up a recording. So what happens is there's this disruption in the electromagnetic field that imprints itself on these digital voice recorders, or even tapes, because they have the magnetic heads. And that's the reason why we can hear them at playback. And I wish they would explain that a little bit more, because it's like, you know, well, why can't you hear it on playback, but it's not, if it's not audible in the ear when it's singing at the time, it's not going to be audible in playback. But because of the circuitry that is in these digital voice recorders makes it possible. So here we go. Does anybody know the date offhand?
13th, 14th by now.
14th now.
14th,
yep. October 14th. Right.
2012.
October 2012, the 14th. We are here at Salem Mounds. We have background of people talking, that's alright. We'll try to be completely as quiet as we can so we can pass this around so we don't have no human contamination. Is there anyone out here that would like to communicate with us? Sorry, I don't hold it right in front of you so you don't have to worry about that.
Why did you build these mounds? What is the mound about? What does it mean?
Are you male or female?
Yeah, it's you. Go ahead, ask a question.
I don't have a question.
Okay.
Okay, that's right. We'll pass.
Are we welcome here?
Good question.
What's your name?
How many of them are you?
It's alright.
Did you appreciate our drumming?
How long have you been here?
Spirits, we gave you some offerings tonight and some drumming to call you in. Are you here?
Okay, what, in this is 2 seconds? See what we get.